Good morning. Welcome to the Morning News. This is the first bulletin of the day on TV3. This bulletin is coming to you live from the news app here at Adisawikanda. We're live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana and on DSTV is channel 279. My name is George Queening. Top of the stories is up. President John Dramani Mahama to address UN General Assembly later this week as world leaders gather in New York for the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. More pressure on government to declare a state of emergency on illegal mining as fix the country protesters call for decisive action. Also coming up this morning, displaced residents in the Bole and Sola-Tuna Kalva district return home to check services, a significant step to peace. Well, we have details of these stories and many more coming up in the next 20 minutes if you spend your time with me. You can also get interactive with us. We're live on Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana. Let's begin from here. And the 2025 high-level plenary session of the United Nations has commenced with calls for ceasefire, peace, justice, equal rights, sustainable development, and prosperity for all women. Ghana's First Lady, Lordina Mahama, has called for effective leadership aimed at protecting vulnerable children caught up in war-torn areas. Komala Kluche has the following report from New York, USA.
Better Together, 80 years and more for peace, development and human rights, a reflection of the anniversary of the United Nations, founded in 1945, 80 years ago, underscoring the call for renewed global commitment and multilateralism, solidarity, shared action for people. Opening the high-level plenary section of the United Nations headquarters, Secretary General Antonio Guterres says world peace longed for must become a reality as humanity needs it. A major concern for Antonio Guterres is the 30 years of the Beijing Convention that has not materialized as expected.
The principles of the United Nations are under assault as never before. As we meet, civilians are targeted and international law trampled in Gaza, the Ukraine, Sudan, and beyond. To meet these challenges, we must not only defend the United Nations, we must strengthen it. And that is the purpose of Agenda 2030, the Pact for the Future, and the UN80 initiative, to renew the foundations of international cooperation and to ensure that we can deliver for people everywhere.
Former Liberian head of state, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, painted a gloomy picture of the African story.
Our shared cradle of resilience and hope, where democracy is weakening, where fractures across borders from Sudan to the Sahel to the Great Lakes strain our regional architecture. Across Africa, communities stand up to extreme violence. Regional bodies mediate transitions, and women's groups negotiate truces.
But the big day of the United Nations headquarters is for the President of the United States, Donald Trump, who will on Tuesday kickstart the high-level debate. On the sidelines, the First Lady, Lordina Mahama, has been speaking at the 7th annual prayer service for children of the United Nations. In her remark, she called for decisive leadership for the vulnerable as children are affected by conflict and humanitarian crisis.
A significant number of children are in Africa, where they are robbed of their childhood, forced to fight and go through terrible experiences. These are precious lives, destroyed by circumstances beyond their control.
Meanwhile, Ghana's Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has had bilateral engagement with colleague foreign ministers of the Commonwealth of Nations.
The Commonwealth must continue to champion democracy, rule of law, and human rights. Ghana encourages broad citizenship engagement, equal access to justice, and accountability in government. While we commend the Secretariat's reform agenda, Ghana believes there is need to strengthen its visibility and relevance at the national level.
a renewed spirit of partnership and growth for Ghana's development. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, United Nations Headquarters, New York.
And right here in Guyana, day 2 of an anti-galamsey protest led by pressure group Fix the Country is in earnest, with renewed calls for government to declare state of emergency. Conveners of the protest say ill committed against the environment must end, urging government to rethink effective solutions to the illegal mining menace. A report by Stanley Nibleo.
The protest seeks to amplify calls by the clergy and environmental activists to compel government to act decisively against inappropriate mining practices, destroying water bodies, farmlands and forest cover, while exposing citizens to serious health risk. Following a vigil on day 1, the group marched from the Accra Mall enclave to the seat of government to present its concerns. Key among them is the demand for a state of emergency, which they believe would allow government to suspend operations in the mining sector, reflect on the current situation, and develop comprehensive solutions to curb the menace. This situation was reinforced by the lead convener, Osagyefo Oliver Bakavomawo, who stressed that the extent of environmental destruction and lives lost present enough justification for declaring a state of emergency.
We all have a role to play, but those who have power to act must. And if chiefs are complicit in the process, they must be brought to account for it. That's what is important. So Galamsey, my friend, that's it. And we'll keep doing this. We keep talking. We keep coming out to the end. And my hope is that this crisis does not engulf the Fourth Republic. That's why the survival of this democracy is at stake. And we must treat it with the emergency that it demands.
They should halt every Galamsey site. They should put a state of emergency first. After that, we will cross the bridge.
Activist Nadenswa, who was previously arrested for championing same cause during the previous regime, has returned to the street with her grandchildren, calling on duty bearers to protect the environment for future generations.
Their mother is home pregnant with another baby. What future does that baby have? We are here today to ask the father of all to take them like his beautiful Farida. They too, they want the treatment Farida has got. Clean water, healthy food, and good air to breathe. That's all they're asking for. They're not asking for money. They just want clean air, clean water, and healthy food. Just so that they can grow up to be like beautiful Farida. That is all we ask for.
Independent presidential candidate Kofi Krantin, who joined the protest, expressed disappointment in government's handling of the Galamsey fight.
With the powers that the president has, he can fix this problem. Because, see, we know everybody who's involved in Galamsey. We have their names because we gave them licenses. So what's the big deal? We gave them the concessions, we gave them the licenses. So we know where they are. So why can't we stop them?
When we talk about Galamsey, people just think it's illegal. We have legal miners who are actually destroying our water bodies as well. So if it's legally signed contracts, you can terminate that contract, because I would love for you to put the state's money at stake than the state's lives at stake. Because one day, if the country is in debt, surely we will pay our debt and be truly free. But when we lose countless lives, I don't know when we are going to resurrect them.
Other activists also criticized the opposition New Patriotic Party for seeking political gains from the crisis, noting that illegal mining worsened significantly during its tenure.
It is also not surprising that the MPP members today are actually touring Galamsey-prone areas and granting interviews and covering shooting documentaries. It means you knew back then that there was an error, but because your party was in power and you were enjoying at the expense of someone's life, you didn't speak. Now that you are out of power, you are speaking. It tells of how poorly nurtured we are. We've lost ourselves because of money. But for some of us, I can tell you, we are proud and loyal sons of the taproot of our land, which is Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. No one can buy us out.
The second day of the protest underscores a growing national frustration over government's handling of illegal mining. With pressure mounting from citizens, civil society, and political actors alike, protesters say the call for a state of emergency is not just urgent, but necessary to safeguard the country's environment and future. Stanley Nibleo, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, away from the capital, let's move to northern Ghana. For the first time since violent communal clashes displaced more than 13,000 residents in the Bole and Solatuna Kaba district, returnees in Bole are gradually returning home to their normal life activities. The development is being seen as a major step in the ongoing peace-building process.
The IGP Special Operations Team, as part of its daily routines operations, provided security on Sunday, September 21, 2025, to reassure residents and maintain order. Led by senior officers including DSP Augustine Dawson Amwa and DSP Karim Mahama, patrols were mounted across conflict-prone areas, marketplaces, hospital access routes, and places of worship. The visibility of security personnel restored confidence, with many residents seen going about their daily activities. In Bale, the local church, previously deserted at the height of the conflict, was filled with worshippers for the first time in months.
Lord, I pray, may the discernment of thy power be with us, O God. Those who save us.
Security officials say the well-attended service is evidence of growing public trust and a sign that displaced persons are gradually resettling.
If you see us today, this morning, our purpose is to give you that assurance that the police is there for everybody.
Similar signs of recovery were recorded in other returning communities, such as Penayiri, Mandari, Gentige, Tumbuyiri, Horuyiri, and Chenchuri, where economic activities are slowly picking up. The Special Operations Team engaged residents directly, assuring them of continued protection and encouraging them to reach out to relatives still in refuge to return home.
I want to appeal to you that the police is here for your safety. Our brothers and sisters who are still at large in the bushes in Côte d'Ivoire, let them know that the police service is here to provide you with security so that you can go about your farming businesses without fear of being attacked by anybody.
After the night, sometimes it's dangerous because you will be alone and they will come in the night. So if you yourself is trying to maybe defend or your animals or anything like that, you will end up by losing your life too.
When you phone a worker, no one almost want to tell you every day. Listen, you may only tell now, step pass, I will say, Yamma, or Mumbra, dear Mumma,
With no incidents reported during the day's operations, security officials say the success of the Sunday's patrol demonstrate that reconciliation and peace efforts in Bole and Solatuna Kaba districts are beginning to yield results. The team remains on standby for night patrols as part of its 24-hour security plan to consolidate peace in the district as the curfew remain in force. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News.
Well, if just you're watching the morning news on TV3, the first bulletin of the day, and let's know what you make of stories that I've aired so far. We're active on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Engage us with your comment, opinions, and hopefully read them and share them to the rest of the world. And now the Minerals Income Investment Fund, MIF, has awarded scholarships to 45 women. Another Women from Mining Communities OneCom Network Scholarship Scheme. At a ceremony at the University of Mines and Technology, the Member of Parliament for Takwa, Issa Salifu Taylor, urged the recipients to embrace leadership roles in the minerals sector. Here's a report by Irama Smith.
The Women from Mining Communities WOMCOM Scholarship Scheme is a transformative initiative aimed at empowering young women from mining areas to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that is STEM. The recipients comprised of 43 undergraduates and 2 postgraduates. Speaking at the award ceremony, Member of Parliament for Hafwa North South East, Yakubu Muhammad, who represented the Chief Executive Officer of MIIF, reaffirmed the fund's commitment to gender equity in the extractive sector.
This belief inspires the creation of Women from Mining Communities, WOMCOM Scholarship Scheme. The WOMCOM initiative is more than a scholarship. It is a bold statement that gender should never be a barrier to opportunity. That young women from mining communities deserve every chance to pursue career in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, fields long dominated by men.
The Member of Parliament for Takwa, Issa Salifu Taylor, urged WOMCOM scholarship awardees to embrace leadership roles in the mineral sector, emphasizing that as women studying STEM, they have the power to shape the future and redefine the face of Ghana's mining industry.
MIF is not just offering financial support. It is reshaping Ghana's destiny and rewriting the story of our mining communities. But I must also challenge you. Do not only aspire to succeed, aspire to lead, aspire to break boundaries, aspire to sit at the very tables where decisions are made about the mineral wealth.
We interacted with some beneficiaries.
I'm very excited to be awarded the MIF scholarship. Last year, I think I applied, but I didn't get it. But I got it this year, and I'm really, really excited. Since it's going to help me cut down the cost. It's going to pay some of my fees and then my models.
I'm really grateful because right now I have hope that I'm not going to stay in the middle of the school and be like a dropout or something. So I'm really grateful to the scholarship.
The initiative, launched in 2024, has so far enabled 86 talented young women to advance their education and careers, with the hope of expanding it from UMAT to include Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, aiming to reach and empower more women from mining communities. Erama Smith, TV3 News, Takwa.
Well, in more news this morning, the Upper West region has recorded a significant surge in attempted suicide cases in the first half of 2025, with 26 reported cases. Correspondent Ibrahim Wangara reports that the prevalence is dominant among people between the ages of 26 and 43.
Globally, suicide claims a little over 700,000 lives annually, with the Upper West region recording a surge in attempted suicide cases in the first half of 2025, with 26 reported cases. This marks a substantial increase from the 9 attempted cases reported in 2023 and 12 cases in 2024. Regrettably, the region also recorded 1 completed suicide case involving a man during this period.
Suicide is one taking steps to deliberately or intentionally take his or her own life. So in 2023, we have 9 people attempting suicide. 2024, fast forward, it slightly adjusted to 12. But half year 2025, as we speak, it has astronomically shot up to 26. These are even reported cases.
Meanwhile, health authorities in the region say women are the most involved in suicide attempts, with men being more successful in doing so. Regional Mental Health Officer Basingnia Sylvester mentions the triggers behind these suicides and their attempted cases.
I think notably among the factors or the triggers of this suicide has to do with relationships, marital problems, that is breakups, disappointments here and there. So depression is one condition that usually makes people wanting to actually take off their lives or die by suicide. Another condition is bipolar, where you have mood swings. Alcohol use and psychoactive substances generally is another factor.
The trend echoes a national concern as Ghana recorded 543 attempted suicides and 81 completed suicides in the first half of 2024. The Mental Health Authority emphasizes that suicide is preventable and encourages individuals to seek help. Ibrahim Wangara, TV3 News, Upper West Region.
Community of Abease, located in the Bono East region, a profound lack of opportunities has created a generational cycle of poverty that is trapping residents and pushing them toward desperation. This crisis is vividly seen in the lives of people like Akosia Tria and Kwejo, whose stories highlight the systematic failures plaguing that particular area.
A usual work routine in Abease, I chanced on Akosia, an elderly woman who lives with her grandson. At 70, Akosia feels a deep sense of resignation. According to her, the struggle for survival here is tough. Life here is so difficult. Sometimes money to even cook is a problem. It barely rains here, so our produce is nothing to write home about. Because of this, the youth here are resorting to thievery and unapproved behaviors. But these wouldn't have happened if there were job opportunities in this area. This environment has left the youth with little to no hope, making them receptive to social vices. Without productive outlets for their energy and ambition, many turn to risky behaviors and petty crimes, further damaging their future. These concerns were highlighted by Kwejo, a farmer in his 60s who has dedicated his entire life to tilling the soil. He has 10 children and 15 grandchildren, yet has nothing to show for his decades of labor. This work is not profiting. Even taking care of my kids through school is so difficult. Even when you force and take them through school, the jobs are not available. So it's actually a waste of our money and time. This sentiment reflects a widespread belief in Abease that the only way to escape poverty is to migrate. And this is Kwejo's only hope to help his son escape poverty. Now my only hope is for him to travel outside for greener pastures. That way, he can make a better life. A 2023 Population and Housing Thematic Report on Migration disclosed that 77% of Ghana's population between the ages of 20 to 49 were leaving to explore greener pastures in the diaspora. This has left communities like Abease with a diminishing pool of skilled, able-bodied workers. The absence of these young people hurts sectors like healthcare, education, and agriculture, preventing the very growth and innovation needed to uplift the region. Belinda Tete, TV3 News, Abease.
Well, before we part company, Media General invites you to the National Thought Leadership Forum under the theme From Blueprint to Break, Making Affordable Housing Work. This convening and roundtable reflections will assemble policymakers, financiers, developers, traditional leaders, and innovators to move the conversation from policy to practice. It will showcase real housing prototypes, explore financing models, and launch a practical roadmap for affordable housing delivery in Ghana. Do note that this event is scheduled for today, 23rd September, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Labadi Beach Hotel. The program will feature contributions from esteemed speakers like Edward Atosapan, who is the MD of ADB Bank, Mr. Gideon Akrofi, Executive Chairman, Rehoboth Properties Limited, and the keynote speaker, Honorable Kenneth Gilbert Ejay, Minister for Housing. And this event will be broadcast live on TV3 and 3FM, amplified across our digital platforms on 3news.com. And this event, of course, is open to the general public. And do make a date starting at 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. On that note, we end the morning news. For more news updates, just log on to our website, s3news.com. In a world where you can be anything, just be kind. It costs nothing to be kind. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
Took a leave of to the grind. I hope all of you, Charlie, you're looking splendid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. We missed you a lot. A lot of our,
and
a lot of the viewers, the viewers, they just when they call during the call segment, where is Roland? Where is
the time to go and recover?
We tried to tell them to be patient, but they were getting impatient with us by the minute. But at least finally they can see you, they can just relax.
And I had a couple of them also reaching out to me. Prince Nania York from the UK as well.
He's a regular contributor.
Yes. And then all of the Yemo, all of them as well. So all of them reached out to say how well I was doing or not. I had to recover within the period. But what has been trending, I've seen Galamsey at least one. Yeah, pressure on President John Dramani Mahama, which I think is upright. But what else has been trending?
We've had yesterday, of course, was Founders Day. So we talked a lot more about what we are missing and the vision and all of that and the need for us to sit up, as it were, and move forward. But of course, that bit's about, when you were away last week, actually, we talked about the CJ going to court again.
Yes, we did.
And and another issue, the 11 out of the 14 deportees.
Yay.
That's a bit matter. And has it been taken to Parliament for approval, or there's no need for it?
No, it has not been taken to Parliament yet.
Ideally, should it be?
It should. I mean, I think the last time I had a conversation with Amaleba, he agreed with it that the current law, per the Supreme Court decision in Margaret Bamfo and Henry Nana Boakye versus Attorney General, Chief Justice Sophia Kufu says no matter what word or term you describe the document or the agreement, once it places an obligation on government, it ought to go to Parliament. I think at some point it will eventually go to Parliament.
Especially when we hear Ablakwa tell us that we should expect some more and some 40 coming in. So
we'll see how that goes. Randa Shah and the Shah family, James, Adrian, and Drea. I hope I pronounced Drea's name correct today, as well as Dr. Juliet Ayerating of the Ghana Military Academy, and Chairman Godwin Tamaklo as well, who is a group chief executive for the RAID Group. You know, the thing about the RAID Group is when they are transporting oil, they do it sustainably, environmentally friendly, as well as making sure that safety, all issues concerned and related to that are done quite well. Rich is cocoa tea as well, but what are we talking about this? I know that we have a thought leadership that we're going to have. We're going to have Alfred and the rest of the team going to steer that conversation. But what's it on?
It's basically on the housing situation in Ghana. I mean, we know that our housing deficit, when I started out in journalism, it was around 1 million. We are now around 1.7 to 1.8 million. That's the number. If you compare the human beings and the number of houses available, that's the deficit. It's not a positive, it's a deficit. So it means that a lot has to be done to bridge the gap. And the main challenges as always are centered around financing issues. It's also always centered around the fact that the arrangements, how to pay for it even is a challenge. If you are looking for a good house in 2-3 bedrooms in most places, you are looking around $200,000 beyond. I mean, I'm told we are not supposed to mention it in dollars, but
$200,000.
$200,000 plus.
To purchase?
Yeah, to purchase outright. To purchase outright. So if you want to do a mortgage, it may go more. But there are various companies within the space that have amazing deals, amazing arrangements for workers, and that is what this thought leadership will be seeking to do. We are going to bring all of them.
Social housing.
Yes. It's part of it. I mean, it's such an irony that you talk about 1.7 when you started journalism, because almost about 11 years ago, it was 2.8 million in terms of the deficit. And it may seem like we have improved from 2.8 almost 11 years ago to now 1.7, 1.8, but there's still huge deficits, like you say. And the other bit about how much you mentioned, of course, I mean, go to cantonment, all the areas that
those areas, what I was mentioning was moderately, you know it's Legon Hills, right? It's Legon Hills.
And the Pukwasi areas, right?
Santo, it's actually Santo. It's called
Santo. Those areas. Area.
Yeah, those areas, yes. Those areas is where you do those figures. The cantonments and those areas, you are in the $1 million areas.
1 point something million for dollars for like a single room or 2-bedroom. It's amazing. And I was just looking at some data, really, that was saying that if you look at the expensive houses that are available, 11% of them are not occupied. They are empty.
Yes, yes.
And when you're driving through town very early in the morning, in the night.
You mean all those all those apartments that we see with the
a lot
lights
of them
out.
are empty.
Yes.
Because when you're driving
Yes,
lights out,
about
Yes,
11%
a lot of them are
of them
empty.
are
they are not
empty.
occupied.
They
are not occupied.
Okay, so they are people's investments.
Yes.
Yes. And what I saw again that really made me sad from that revised Ghana housing profile that was done in 2024, just last year, November, that just 1% of households in Ghana can afford decent accommodation or housing.
Just 1%?
Just 1%. And by decent accommodation, you're looking at the place being secure, the place having proper amenities like water, electricity, of course, toilets, and all of that. And that's quite sad. So I'm really excited about this housing forum that we are having this morning, hoping that there is a broader conversation about how we can make it affordable. Yesterday, we talked about it.
Yes,
how affordable is the affordable housing that we're providing, and really help a lot more people get decent homes instead of the regular ones that we have across the country.
I think that we need to ask for a question already for this morning segment, a question on rent and purchasing of housing and affordability, etc. But what else do we have? What are you discussing for big issues?
On the big issue, we'll talk about a very interesting topic. We are saying galamsey, politics, new crusaders, and the search for solutions.
I love that. Very poetic. Who coined this the way? Very
the production team.
Okay. It has to be just a vocabulary. But I think that there's one thing that's resonating, which is that you look at what the narrative is vis-a-vis those who are in government today, what they were saying just about 8 to 9 months ago, and then how they seem to be on the straight and narrow in the middle, don't seem to exert a lot of pressure for the president to take that rightful decision, declaring a state of emergency as it is. I think it's quite baffling.
Yeah.
Because for all the things we have, if there's any time for any president of our republic, not close to any election period, to take a decision on how well to be able to at least calm or clamp down on the speed at which we're destroying our water and river bodies because of illegal mining or galamsey. This is the time. And I think the president needs to take the bull by the horn and do something about it.
Yeah, and we've had really renowned members of the NDC as well saying that there's a need for the president to take what you just said, the bull by the horn by declaring a state of emergency or just dealing with the galamsey menace. I think I've heard Dr. Tony Edu, for instance, talk about it. Nyaho Tamaklo has spoken about it, and as well as some other stalwarts, even from the opposition party as well. So there's a need. I've heard some government appointees saying you can still deal with the galamsey menace without declaring a state of emergency, but others are also arguing that we've tried the other methods that didn't really work for us. We're still where we are. So if this is the new way that we believe would help deal with the problem, let's just go ahead and do it.
I agree. So who do you have to discuss that?
Just the regular Friday team, Dr. Koba, Ramsey, Inusa.
The
Tuesday team, sorry. Yeah. Tuesday, well, yesterday was a holiday. Yes.
Oh, we forgive you. You have Tuesday and Friday stuck in your head.
That's right. Dr. Josiah Koba would also join as well. Then we would have Ataisa from the NDC who will be joining. We would also have someone from the Democracy Hub group that organized the protest. That's a group that has been very consistent, and so they are the constant protesters demanding answers, and would also isolate those we have classified as the new crusaders as well. We also isolate them and have the discussion. So that would be it for if time permits. There's a disturbing story coming up from the University of Cape Coast. There is this seeming tension brewing. In fact, it's gone beyond brewing at this point in time. GTEC has said it's not going to process anything in relation to UCC anymore. It is taking UCC off its website, basically, on the basis that
they're not up to speed.
GTEC says it had instructed UCC to its vice chancellor to leave office.
Okay.
Because he had gone beyond the retirement age, and because of that, the vice chancellor has refused. There's a part of the matter that is in court also, for which reason the vice chancellor says, well, I'm not supposed to leave office, because he also got a contract extension which was given to him when he was under the retirement age, but it's supposed to cut across beyond the retirement age. So like you're around 58 and you get an extension that will take you beyond. And so it's a legal issue. There's a governance aspect to it, and we are trying to just get answers to it because it has some potential to affect even allowances, salaries of teachers at that particular university, and even students processing their research papers, among all other things. So it's a very disturbing story from UCC.
Wow.
All right. So we have to look at that this morning segment. And so make sure you join us. What's our question?
We are asking about housing, of course, the rent issue, and I know a lot of people, the purchases,
of
yes.
taking whether you can afford.
Yeah, but I think even now, perhaps the headache of most people would be rent, because I mean, how many people are in that category of even thinking of owning their own homes? Yes, so I believe a lot of people have a lot of things on their minds and hearts, really.
All right. So our question of the day, right up. Please make sure you second stay and call as well.
All right, so this is This Morning. You're still here on New Day. And like you just heard Roland say, call in, share with us your rent and perhaps your dream of buying a home experience and, yeah, how it's been for you so far. And Roland, one other thing that also comes up is sometimes people complaining about going out and seeing houses that they think are not worth certain prices that landlords and landladies quote, and yet because they don't have a choice, I mean, it's a matter of demand and supply, they have to succumb to those prices and just get a place to lay their heads.
Well, true. It's what really matters. There was something I had, I think 2 years ago, a friend of mine was renting by the month. I hadn't seen that before in Ghana. So the only difficulty was that sometimes he would call in between the year and say, Charlie, my one for the next month would delay, so try and see whether you can cushion me. So that's the only difficulty about it. But
yeah.
I'm told that's what they do elsewhere or abroad in the developed world as well.
There are some places in Chad that are doing that.
They are doing that.
Yes.
Monthly
yes,
payment.
monthly, others 3 months, others 6 months, yes.
Fantastic. Do you live in one of them? We have a caller.
All right. We have a caller from Sunyai. Hi, good morning to you. Please tell us your name and what's on your mind today.
My name is Honorable Medina Kwesi.
Medina? I didn't know you were honorable. Anyway, good morning. Welcome.
We too have to be called honorable.
It is allowed.
Because majority of the so-called honorable, they are not do honorable things.
Yes, honorable. Please tell us what's on your mind from Sunyai.
For this situation, let me speak please. Because as I me here, I just can't treat no matter I say a dying and I say fear will be paid with the identity at all. Penny for Kayampa, think a dying will get to shut that car, could be able to put it there. If you would have been a year so difficult to live with. So we'll be the Tomufia and I say 7 predators. I say we need it. Nayana, a basana now would drink quite because I had a young couple share than our boy Sana. And then to build a house, very difficult. Even a land, how to get it? Now, and then what is asking we are paying and say, hey, as some can say, Panama, bay, Accra, yes, man, here. All the major areas, commercial centers in Abease foreigners now. Accra, but I'm telling you, majority of the expensive areas in Accra could be foreigners. But Oko Land Commissioner, who to own the land in Ghana. And yet then the foreigners are going to occupy the commercial centers. And no see heavy buildings in our foreigners. In the Omana area, the Nigeria, na not a king or Ghana. That is what I'm saying. Say, some people call themselves honorable, but they are not doing honorable things. In the house, and they are very difficult to live with. And then with me high down, look at a month. We'll check it. How much does one earn at the end of the day? You subject it to what the person is to pay at the end of the month. Add the bill, water, electricity. In truth, say, majority of Ghanaians, they are working for people. They are not again. We are wicked people. We are wicked beings. Yankupon be change yaka. Na me dem e ko heavy. I make up a toilet group to ho. Ne ma he oba. The show when the man ma kuto say, "Nipa 5,000 na Yankupon e video mu bo mu din ma me." Ye hu se obetimi ara. No one ye go. Every so yan ko toilet abontino. But that's it.
Honorable, thank you so much. Obviously concerned about the price of housing, really, in Ghana, and saying that it's actually a very big issue that we are tackling this morning, and complaining about how, if you compare people's salaries with how much they pay for their rent, it looks like there's a sharp irony, really, how much you're paid and how much you're contributing, and it eventually looks like a lot of Ghanaians are working for other people because they take their salaries and give it to other people. So thank you very much, Honorable from Sunyai, for sharing those views with us. And yes, call us and let us hear your story as well. Nice. All
right, so we have a couple of messages, quite interesting though, and I know, for example, it's a good morning to Chairman Dominic H. Champon of the Adresso constituency. Good morning to you. He says, I'm watching you live from Accra, Newtown. Welcome. And, well, Chief Mante in Akosombo says, rent is always expensive. We have many houses and homes that have been overpriced, not only in US dollars. Even if they are in Ghana City, you will find that if you were to build those houses yourself, you wouldn't have spent that much of money in relation to the cost of those homes on the market. Quite interesting there as well.
Quite interesting. Let's go to Bawa. Hi, good morning, Bawa. Tell us where your power, actually. Tell us where you're calling from and what story you've got to share with us this morning.
The issue that you raise up. This issue is killing us, the youth, very, very, very much. When me waking up this morning, I'm going to work. My job, I'll be paid there, but I'll get less than 1,000. So I have to rent a room. That single room, just the same. No, just the compound out. You need to see. They're paying 600 cedis for him, and you know you have to gather a lot of money to go and pay for a year or so. And it seems like no one is in this country. No one. Oh, we are talking about a lot of issues that we will do. That the machine tell you for better he obedient was why they say, well, and we school class the thing. They say no share. Yeah, favorite. Yeah, and come on for it. It's me renting now or me. Yeah, what I would rather. I'm not put me renting. No, put me them now. Must be so much today. We don't want to be. They say ultimately renting time. So a guy renting fancy. I'm not for putting you side down. I'm not for the kiosk. Even the kiosk no price is the ground. Very expensive. Don't be renting what they do. So we can go into that. Limited and because limit you out. So to be not the animal. I'm moving any castle for in not the amount Nigeria because of this case Yamano. And I tell you something you said it. We need more Australia over said Australia or we grab no matter. Sadly, my main canal or most and no matter of my shema in there behind. I said, or Mama said because you didn't run more free, you're more free. I'm a man so better ever come at the year. I push bride, that's how we make. Only the great now. Now, who do an offer? A mobile now inside Usua and I will say near my phone amount for show with none now. And Mao, that more Mao, what came Mahmoud to that? Somebody could go if you are and 2%
Thank you so much, Pa, for calling us. Joseph, it's exactly what you said. That's what he's saying. If I heard him correctly, he's paid 1,000 cedis and he's having to pay rent of 600 cedis a month. That's more than 50% of his salary.
So how does he survive? He's stealing somewhere.
Yes.
I mean, of course, there's another conversation about underemployment.
I think our parents have always been magicians, and some of us have now also become magicians on our own, trying to balance everything.
Magician,
out. Yes,
Joseph Akablé.
Yeah, no, it's true. Because in all honesty, if you listen to what people are paying for rent and you put it against their salary, and mind you, they are supposed to cough up 2 to 3 years. It's only very few reasonable people who would even say that bring 1 year. They will all take 2 to 3 years.
No, the 1 year is for that another category of rent, like the 3,000, 4,000 plus.
Exactly. Because those shorter ones, the price goes up. So it basically means that in the first place, if you even aggregate your entire salary for the month, you can't pay your rent. Then the question now becomes, how are people able to come up with the money to pay 2 to 3 years? They will tell you that they take loans, they take money, they borrow from people. And by the time you even finish, before you even finish paying the debt you owe someone, your rent is due again.
Good morning to Robert Coleman. Robert Coleman says, you're living your reality. This is Ghana for you. He's the chief executive for the Wembley Sports Construction Company. Good morning to Robert Coleman. Says, say a happy birthday to the entire... say a happy birthday to a very good sister of mine, Mrs. Betty York. The entire Coleman and York family say they love you so much. You are an amazing lady by all standards. Has even attached the picture. I'll try and attach. Today we have thought leadership, so I don't know whether we can do it. And then Reverend Father Ankra, good morning to you, says that, in fact, the rent issue is killing people power, especially in my parish. And for all the things that need to be done, you'll find that it's difficult for people to rent. And Alhaji Jibril, National Security, as well as Edmond Combat, the Managing Director for the Tema Oil Refinery. Good morning to you, as well as Alhaji Mustafa, the Deputy as well. But do we have more callers?
Yes, from Power, we go to Peter T.
Oh, Peter T.
Yes, hi.
Peter T is a landlord, so he can better tell us.
Hi, Peter T. Good morning. We are hearing you're a landlord. Please tell us your story and where you're calling us from.
Good morning.
Peter T, the way you laughed, it's not good, though. Are you a landlord? You are not.
It's like you don't believe what you are saying.
Who told you that I'm a landlord?
Oh, my apologies. Please, I withdraw that. Peter T is not a landlord. Please go ahead.
Please tell us.
How is it?
Fine. I'm well.
Okay.
Fully recovered now.
Good. Roland, let me seize your platform to say good morning to Alhaji Aokunde, a very wonderful, hard-working man indeed. And then also Manche Nadine of Abetan and Siamava. Roland, you know what? Government wants to do its best to accommodate people who are vulnerable when it comes to renting a house or a home. But you see, I don't see the problem just government's program for these housing projects. Because the housing project, let's even ask ourselves that as Ghanaians who are under very serious siege today, how many of them that when government is ready for these cabins can afford? Because you see, there is one thing that Ghanaians are going through all the time. One, the number of years that landlords are giving to these people who rent the houses. Because they say, give 3 years, give 4 years, and it's not small amount. That is where the problem is coming from. They also give 220,000, 40,000, 80,000 for 2 months. So where is this person going to get the money? A simple single room. I'm telling you, when they tell you how much, it is a call to respond to. So these are some of the things I want, apart from government projects of housing. Government must be able to regulate some of these areas that all house owners or landlords, please, let's cut our bill for this. I need somebody coming to have a single room must pay this. Somebody coming to how do we call it? The double one must also pay this. Are you getting me? So that will make it very easy for Ghanaians to afford. Because somebody who is sleeping on the street and who wants to, now have something to rent a house, and he's having maybe just 2,000 Ghana cedi to do that. Can you get 2,000 Ghana cedi affordable house? That is my problem. So government must also regulate, must come to down the local people Those that have the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, just to meet the deadline to be able to accommodate themselves. Government must look at that side too before also thinking about affordable houses for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very interesting comments he does make. And the pictures we're showing also is also eliciting a lot of comment. This one is coming from Experienced Union Administrator Seth Abloso. Good morning to you, Mr. Abloso. Says that, I'm just seeing the videos of Sagleme Housing Project on your screens. How could the Sagleme Housing Project been abandoned and forgotten until the return of President John Dramani Mahama just because he initiated it? We need to make sure that government use and take housing of the population as a priority. Very interesting comment there as well. And, well, okay. So then also we have Prince Henry Kofodua says, 1980 building will be given to you. Okay. On the rent issues, these are my comments. 1980 building will be given to you at today's cost as rent. And when that cost of cement, and when at the time of the building, the cost of cement was 1 Ghana cedi. We are our own enemies. So many wicked souls. These landlords. I hope you're not, your landlord is wicked. Is that, PHK, is that what you're saying? Or just a normal comment? What else do we have?
We have Henry on the phone. Hi, good morning to you, Henry. Thank you so much for joining us on a new day this morning. Tell us what's on your mind.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I would like to speak to you as well. Say, where the question I'm wearing, many Jamaica, but Yama insurance will be say, near honestly, see dying. You say the amount or the toll as I say, you see dying. Now, some of the estate lots are selling about 250,000, maybe 800,000, and you are going to buy such a land with such amount. Now, what do you expect to say? You can see Diana saying another budget. So, if you may have to say, no, so you say, any the way I can't say, the price is never come because a no could 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom self-contained. Just imagine how much you are going to spend. So,
I'll let you continue, Henry, but are you a landlord? Oh, you're a landlord?
Yes, I'm a landlord.
Oh, okay.
So, what the GI? Since you're a landlord?
Oh, the tenants here are maybe, it's like maybe 1 year. If you 6 months to crown out the bar, I'll take it.
No, boss, yes, saying.
Oh, 2-bedroom self-contained. 2-bedroom self-contained, 1,000 cities.
In Accra?
Yes.
Okay. Where in Accra?
I have it in Tema.
Okay, it's standard.
Tema.
Tema, no boarding.
Obi Bisasa identity every 2 years be a more increasing when sometimes there's no renovation.
No, I don't increase my salary, my rent. It's just like even if the call, I can give my standard number to you to call. Then ask him how, like I'm living with them.
Okay.
But if you baby I'm not aging, Okota say 250,000, 350,000. Now they see that, yes, imagine. And to do baby, and your money born in the idea, and the month landlord giving so Emma and the Medisa Ecoso. Right.
All right. Yeah, that's.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your call as well. I think it's quite an interesting perspective it shares.
I'm not sure
it says that
agrees with
the liabilities resulting or as a result of litigation when it comes to land acquisition, etc., perhaps also seem to have been offloaded onto the pricing and then the rent and then the way you're treated.
See, Roland, the way you said, I don't agree. Not that I disagree. There's a fact that is not in doubt that real estate is overpriced in Ghana. You can just go online, just go to search for $1 million worth properties in the US. Just take a look at it. Yeah. They are on large tracts of land. You come here to Ghana.
$1 million.
$1 million. You can't even park more than 5 cars.
It's legal.
You can't even park more than 5 cars. So. In the US, an entire tract of land is available to you.
People coming and they don't even like it. So they like to import so that they have that kind of look that people would appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, that's why their houses are empty. If you doubt that it is overpriced, they are building, but people can't rent them. People can't buy them.
Yeah.
The houses are empty. Elsewhere,
I love the way you're speaking with passion. This thing touches your heart.
It's not.
Because I've been watching the show.
Actually, no. It's not just me. It's not just me. You saw how our callers
with many young
people
and then also Ghanaians generally.
I mean, our callers
I agree with you. Let me say good morning to Rosemont Aso Obeng. Good morning to you as well. Zilis Dwayne says that you're back. Yes, I'm back. You clearly will see that, well, the rent issues in central London are different from rent outside London. Clearly, the value of property is something that needs to be taken into consideration. However, we all travel. You come back to Ghana, and after you've built your house and you see how much you spent, you juxtapose that with the one that has been built and being sold as realty, and you open your mouth. Hey, it's not direct English. And so I think he's trying to, make the comparison.
Yes.
Nana Hajiman also, Nana Hajiman, the football administrator and coach.
Yes.
As well as advocates for medicinal marijuana policy initiative in Ghana.
Oh, Nana Hajiman, yes.
He says that just imagine that a conference on affordable housing can take place without the inclusion of one of the most affordable materials known to man, industrial hemp, cannabis. I agree with you. I'm an advocate for medicinal marijuana. Truly amazing. We are own worst enemies. Even on the issue of galamsey, the Forestry Commission, which does nothing to restore forests that are now being contaminated, refuses to allow us to use industrial hemp to restore the land. I agree with you on those. So-called educated and highly qualified people sit there holding up the progress of Ghana and just retrogressing us. Hey, Charlie, this one, they said that the language used on television is a problem.
Okay, so we'll be crossing over very shortly at 9 o'clock. Actually, we'll be going to the Labadi Beach Hotel. You're watching live visuals from there, preparations underway for the housing forum that we were talking about, of course, based on which we're picking your calls to get your own experiences as regards whether or not you're renting, if you're a landlord, like the man who called us and gave us the real challenge of those who are building. Akavle is shaking his head. But we have PK on the line. Let's hear what you have to say. Good morning to you, sir. Tell us where you're calling from and what your issue is.
Good morning. I'm calling from Tema. I would like to speak to you like me, Jinade. One more guy, I'm buying a guy, PPA, ama individual. Now, individual, no, invest, no, make a profit, right? Ain't you own to me, Cassa, no boy, you just walk away. Who call London, a buying with buildings are very cheap for the common people. Who call US, the same thing is there. So the competition between a buying for individuals, a buying man individuals need one more the platform. But a buying is your affordable house, no tongue. What is affordable for the Ghanaian? More so is priced in dollars, even if it's priced in cedis. Mr. Dudu was saying the what's a way or the quarter die. And the as I say, almost as no man now buying sit down on Casa Walton, often renting crop for. My individuals know the warm prices in our perform because a few people will chase them. The rest will be going to the government. Even if people prefer it than going to buy block house, going to rent block house, no bought in the into one buying shed that side, no one affordable, so no one will go for to
and no.
Thank you so much.
On our stream, there's quite an interesting. This one is coming from Richard Ayerakwa. It says, as for rent, it is the main cause of BP and killer of the ordinary Ghanaian.
I agree with him.
Families being forced to pay years in advance of rents with crippling increases by the year. We need urgent rent law reforms, a strong rent authority, fair payment, affordable housing, and shelter is a human right. And the best government is the one that resolves this matter. Not only this. including galamsey, if you don't do the economy well. So we have this one from Prince Nani York. Prince Nani York says that, Roland, good morning to you. And it's very interesting. You take a look at all the things. In Ghana, the issue with rent is the requirement to pay 2 years rent upfront. And that's not what the law says. For example, a national service person or personnel assigned to a location for just 1 year, how can they afford to pay a full year's rent in advance when the landlord's demand is that high? They should use the law. Yeah, who has to implement the law?
Yeah, we have to, but again, you need to look at demand and supply. So how do you balance the two? Let's pick the thought of Emmanuel. Good morning to you, Emmanuel. Tell us where you're calling from and what you've got to tell us.
My name is Emmanuel.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm calling from Akachi. In fact, there is rent issue. Currently, I'm living in a government bungalow. And can you imagine when I came to the place? In fact, I need to do some renovation and other things. But I can tell you, I'm paying close to 600 cedis per month, a government bungalow. So this rent issue, and I think rent control are also not helping issues at all. Because I thought they said the law says when you are going to rent, at least the advance it will be 6 months. But we all know they take more than 6 months. You see, I think here, 2 years. You will pay advance of 2 years. So please, I believe that, like the earlier caller said, the government should try and do something about it. You know, for us as workers, also to at least to be faced more. We are suffering. We are suffering. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for calling us from Akachi. And you know, as people are calling in, what is also troubling my mind is how much people are paid. A lot of people are not even paid well in this country. I mean, some people are paid as low as less than 1,000
All of us are
cedis.
not paid well. Because you're hosting, you don't want to say you're not paid. You're not paid well, you're not paid.
So it's somebody is giving you thumbs up there, but it baffles my mind. I mean, after work, you see so many people queued.
Only lawyers who earn high in Ghana.
Yeah, like Akable. Yeah.
Are we still talking about
Okay,
the rent?
so yes, I mean, I'm just trying to add all the other things that they need to, you know, cough up money to take care of. After work, I'm sure, Joe, you see people on the street all lined up to pictures.
No, I mean,
Structure of late is not
mean,
even that cheap, huh?
Yes, I mean, I have some colleagues. I remember some years back, it was like past closing time, and they were still in the office, and I was trying to find out what was happening. The guy told me that, Charlie, my landlord is looking for me. I can't go home now. He has to go when the landlord is asleep, and he sneaks in. And then the next day, he told me when he got there, the landlord was seated on a plastic chair in front of the door waiting for him. It's not easy.
I think that I love how the guy described it. It's the main cause of BP. I mean, I think he described it perfectly.
Richard
Let's go to Kofi. Good morning to you, Kofi. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining us on New Day.
I want to speak in here.
Please go ahead. Yes, it was so.
Mr. Cho, common made the question about rate, you know. Hello.
Me pacho yeti ne oka no nti twaso.
I think I can't define the rate, you know. Na me na juni yam ni che. Na we boys na omuwo sa isoko ya bubursini asakala muwo odona sine. Some of them are we boys, but because of rent ninti na mi bi omuwo na fine ya titi affordable house mi bi ibi tanko yedi mo but yan critique mama mi bi take ka mi bi mutumi nya juma ya mi bi mutuma high day because of humanity. But I mean the reason why, because I'm not saying one kurma baby, now whatever. But in the business of penny for now, maybe more, then now maybe more continue concern of the Aquam Kurmaya, maybe the other year, maybe you saw you, but you know, Ombanya Danidi, Ombanya Danidi a high.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it, baby. So thank you so much. So I think his concern is for those who are at Agbublushia, who sleep there, and a lot of people are interested in this affordable housing.
Yes, and I mean, it's the reason why the dialogue is very timely in that it offers an opportunity for us to hear from industry players. We'd also hear from government. What we want to do is to have a conversation such that we get to the level where no matter what your earning is, there's housing that is available for you. If you want to own long-term or short-term, I always like the foreign examples because I know people in the UK, in the US who are taking out mortgages for 30 years. Sometimes they do 15 years, they decide to relocate, they sell off their interest, they move elsewhere, they take another mortgage for 30 years. It's a more reasonable thing to do than to build the houses and have the houses empty. Roland will come and say, I'm passionate again. I'll not say anything again, Roland. Why are you giving me that look?
Again, you know, over there as well, you're giving some scoring. Roland, I don't know how
credit score, the credit score.
For your revenue or your bank relationship. And so it makes it easier for you to take a loan. But let's take our last call. Hello, good morning to you. Tell us your name, where you're calling us from, and what you've got to tell us today.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is Douglas. I'm calling from Elmina.
Elmina?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, in the central region.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah. What?
Please go ahead. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about the houses, about the renting of the houses in Ghana here. Please, don't let us deceive ourselves. Some people making comparison in Europe or even in America. Because in America or in Europe, nobody takes 2 years advance. You know, nobody in Europe is going to pay 2 years in advance to rent a house. You know what I mean? So here, there is a lot of problem with our landlords or the agents. That's our problem we have. They have to see to the solution. Renting a house, an average worker, you will be paid monthly. You are not being paid yearly. So how should you pay 1 year or 2 years in advance to rent a house? It's a very big problem, very big issue we have to solve in this Ghana. You know, in Europe, I'm living in Europe over 30 years. I bought a house. I have my own property. You know, so at times they deceive how some people, they go through in buying even house here. You know, the time I bought my own house in 1995. Then I was in Europe. You know, it's just a little bit bank process I went through, and I was able to buy a house. Not ready cash, but it was mortgage. But here, when you're going even through the bank procedures to get a mortgage, you have to pay something to someone somewhere. So it's very difficult. In Ghana, how much an average worker earns? You know, I don't want to talk too much. I end here for another person to continue.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Douglas.
That's very voice passionate. Of a passionate person. And you can clearly see the differences, and we alluded to what happens in the developed world, where they don't make those demands of you. No. There's all-around work, etc. And then there are corresponding facilities or infrastructure within the society that make it, I think, conducive. Yes. I won't say comfortable, conducive for you to say that I want to go in for a mortgage, and so I'm going to work all year round my lifetime to be able to own a decent property that I want.
And it seems like frustration all across it. I love the bit he talked about the agents. Joe, have you had that experience with agents?
It's the same thing that Manuel Hans also is saying. Says that in Tema, for example, if you want to rent 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 per month, and the most annoying one is that you have to go through agents. Yeah. And they charge you a commission.
There was one time I dribbled the agents. The money was too much.
So he led you to that property, all right?
And I spoke to the property owner, and the property owner
so you cut him off as a
middleman. The property owner told me he doesn't deal with agents.
That's all.
So
he kept calling you afterwards?
No, I told the agent I was not interested in the house, and I went back in.
Hey, Blake.
Corruption.
I'm sure he's watching.
It's not corruption. The man had not licensed him to be his agent.
Watching you.
The man had not contracted him to be his agent.
I like you for one thing. You're a businessman. And this one is coming from lawyer Leonard Sergio. Good morning to you, lawyer. I said it is best if you are privileged to build your own house from your own resources. Mortgage rates and terms in Ghana are just onerous, exorbitant, among others. They will even ask for your intestines, so to speak.
Well, that'll be it for this morning on Midday. When we come back, we'll bring you some more. So you do want to stick and stay.
I love the intestine, Sergio.
Thank you for staying with us here on New Day. A very insightful conversation during the call-in segment when we were discussing issues related to housing in Ghana and the challenges that a lot of us, I mean, younger folks and the older, everyone is confronted with this housing challenges. For that reason, we are having this very important thought leadership where we are going to hear from the housing minister on government's position on affordable housing, what the strategy is. We'll also hear from industry players why they are always advertising affordable housing, but when we show up, we cannot simply afford it. It's a big challenge, and a lot of you who called, you expressed concerns about landlords and their rents and what have you. I have two landlords in the studio. Let me introduce you to them. Dr. Josiah Koba is a legal practitioner, former principal lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration. Doc missed out last week, but it's good to have him back. Doc, thank you for joining us again. Doc is a landlord.
Joseph, I'm not.
Dr. Ramsey Inusa is Director of Political Research for the Movement for Change. He's also a landlord. You also say I'm a landlord. He's a landlord, I know. Where is Roland? Roland should come and see you.
Nobody is a landlord.
Roland should come and see you. Earlier on during the course segment, all those who were calling in, the way some of them were talking about it, and those who are renting were going after the landlords. Then someone calls in, and the way the person is defending the prices, we're like, Charlie, you're a landlord. but renting issue, housing generally, it's something we've gotten wrong for so long. It's a big problem.
Yeah. I think that generally, one of the things that we have not been able to do, and it's a matter of resources, is, what in UK, for example, they call council housing, and, the project system in the US, where you have government investing in housing, fully aware that there will be people among us who cannot afford what the market offers. And so there's a deliberate subsidization of, and there's a good reason for that. I think there's enough research to show that children, their growth and development, very much affected by the environment in which they grow up, and that the really slum kind of environment, if you compare children who grew up in a slum environment and those that are, who grow up in, more healthier environment, that it is worth investing in affordable housing. So I think that it's something that we need to deliberately get into. I looked at the manifesto yesterday, the NDC manifesto, and when I heard about these housing things, and I think that the right words are there, the sentiments expressed there tend toward the government doing something about housing. But again, it's a matter of resources, if we could have a big push in the area of housing. And really affordable housing, which then leads us into issues of what material we use, appropriate technology, and all those things. So I think that the Thought Leadership Forum is a step in the right direction. Yeah.
And Doc, earlier on, I was making a point during the call-in segment about, I like to go online a lot and look at real estate, and sometimes I look at places in advanced countries. I look at $1 million house, and you compare it to $1 million house here in some place, maybe sometimes in some of the big areas here in town. And here in town, you can't even park 5 cars. I mean, not that the roads are any good or that we have reliable water supply or anything. You would have to now set up your own. You have to set up your own water supply system. Yet you end up having it's been very expensive, and one cannot help but wonder. I mean, what is happening?
Well, Joseph, let me say a very good morning to Doc And a very good morning to your good self and to the good people of our dear Republic. Indeed, yesterday was a holiday and a significant one indeed. And we believe and still stand by the fact that, notwithstanding the efforts by the Aboriginal Rights Protection Society, which laid the foundation for the fight against independence and the sovereignty of our country, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah still stands as the founder of this land. Okay. And indeed, I want to commend the government for allowing us to experience that significant day of the year. Okay. Joseph, issues of rent and the cost of land and other materials for construction has been a big problem in this country. I mean, Joseph, imagine you purchasing a land today in Ghana and registering it. How long it would take? That is even going through the front door. How much you need to even pay to facilitate your registration alone is also another issue. And that is why I believe that the time has come for all stakeholders to sit down to bring an end to this issue and find a very transparent solution and a reliable one, so that at least if you even buy your land, you can even register it within a month or two, as seen in other countries. The second thing is to do with our rent laws. We know that we have the rent control department that really surveys the market and ensures that landlords are abiding by this regulation. How well funded is that agency in executing its mandates? It's another big question. Today in Ghana, 70% of materials used for construction is being imported. And so, if you are importing in dollars, and we know how volatile the city is, right? And how unstable the dollar is. If the dollar rate increases, the inflation is passed on to the end consumer. And so until we build industries that will be able to substitute what is used in our construction in Ghana, it is a problem. Okay. That is why we are calling on the Center for Scientific and Industrial Research Institute to bring about, and of course, government will have to support them. I'm sure they have innovative ways on how to reduce the cost of building, right, or construction. I know that there are new materials, there are new innovative ways of how we can build as a country. And so we should support this research institute and also startups in this space. I saw a lady some years back was recycling plastic and was using it as pavement blocks. And you know, we have a huge chunk of plastic waste in our country. And these are the startups that we need to support. And you know, the demand, on the other hand, is also huge. You know, we have over 2 million deficit in housing. And so there's huge demand and supply. And that is why you see the price of rent high and the cost of also buildings in this country quite high. And so we need to really tackle the fundamentals. If we're able to ensure we have a huge chunk of the materials that we import for construction being done here locally, supported by the government, I know that they have promised a 24-hour economy, which is their industrial policy. They should look at how best they can use the 24-hour economy to really reduce the cost of building materials in this country. For example, iron rods. Okay. You know, 70% of our iron rods is imported from Ukraine. Okay. All right. And part from China. Okay. And there are other new materials that can even substitute iron rods. Today, there's a startup in Dodowa. I don't know whether you know about them. They have this technology using a fiberglass rod to substitute iron rods, which is way 50% cheaper than iron rods. Wow. We have to look at how best we can also support them so that we can reduce the cost of construction in this country and iron rods.
Let's see how all of that will play out, and that's why we're having a thought leadership today. It will be live here on TV3 from 9 a.m. We'll cross over and hear from industry players. We'll also hear from the Ministry for Works and Housing on what government's approach will be. We'll also hear from some of you, the ordinary Ghanaians who are interested in owning your own houses, either outright or through a mortgage, whatever the arrangement is. All those are matters that we'll be discussing. Let's now talk about galamsey. Let me add that my guest is one of my guests just is in the studio as well. Atta Issa. Atta Issa is NDC Communications team member. He's a member of Parliament for Sanerugu as well. Mr. Issa, thank you for joining us as always.
It's a pleasure. Is he also a landlord? If not,
oh, yes, he
is.
He's
a landlord.
Yes. You know, when you finished your submission, when you finished yours, everyone knows that it's a landlord. The landlords, they are always talking about iron rods and things.
I'm a tenant.
No problem. Yes. So let's talk about galamsey now. And it's a very interesting conversation that is coming up. I mean, we know that a protest took place, a 2-day protest that took place. And we are titling it Galamsey Politics, New Crusaders and the Search for Solutions. First, we know what galamsey is. It has become synonymous with illegal mining, even though the term didn't start that way. We also know that there's a political element in there because we've seen CDD reports make the point that those who are financing galamsey are politically connected, and that is how come we are not able to crack the whip on them. The CDD report does not mean words in that regard. We also know that they are new crusaders. These are people who, not too long ago, when you raise questions about the need to end illegal mining, they would be explaining what government is doing. Today, they are the ones who are on the streets, going to town, visiting water bodies and showing us the state of those water bodies. Not too long ago, they were the ones explaining to us that what government is doing. Then those who used to go to the streams to tell us how the water bodies are looking are now the ones who are telling us that, well, no, we should all calm down. We are dealing with the matter. But in between all of that, a certain group, I mean, the Democracy Hub group, we know them. Just in December, they poured onto the streets, said that, well, you need to find solutions to illegal mining. They are back on the streets. The last 2 days, they also demonstrated once again. And we all know that we need solutions. No matter how you want to have the conversation, how you target, the end game is that it's something that we all agree that is terrible, and we have to end it once and for all. And it's the reason why we are having this conversation once again. And I want to start with Doc across me. And Doc, we've seen another protest yet again. I mean, there are those who believe that maybe it's too early for this to be happening, and that they believe that the government should be given a bit of a longer rope. There are those who also disagree to say that, well, this is actually the good time, because if we enter the second year, the government's reorganization for who replaces the president kicks in, and then the political implications will now come up strongly. How do we balance it in our search for solutions?
Issues of galamsey, Joseph. I think we all agree that we have with us an existential threat. This is a very important and difficult issue, for any Ghanaian who cares about this country. The problem is that it has become so political. It's very difficult to discuss it, even look at the science. It is so political. Yesterday, I saw a video clip of a communicator from the opposition somewhere around Kwenyako or something. My question was, what is this? What I find disturbing is that there was nothing that he was saying that we haven't heard. So the issue there was that instead of really dealing with what the issues are and how to solve the problem, it was about kick them out, we can do better. And this is not the way to solve a problem like this one. I think that it is time for the politics to to be sidelined so that we bring science to bear, you know. I have said, I think here before, but this is one issue that I believe we should defer to the president. You know, you and I are not privy to the briefings that he gets. I think that he says that he wants to use all the avenues available to the executive before he gets to a state of emergency. And you know what? A lot of us who are calling for the state of emergency have not really read the Constitution to even to understand what is involved in the state of emergency. You know, so I think we need to take the politics out for now, given the extent of the problem, and begin really to solve the problem. I think the establishment of this NIMOS, for me, the interdisciplinary, interministerial nature of it, I think it's a holistic framework that I haven't seen in the past. I think that this is a new approach where it's really collaboration, you know. And the fact that they've established a secretariat, this is somewhat different from the approach where the respected Professor Frimpong Boateng was kind of a chair of a ministerial. This is a different approach, you know, where you have agency, including security agencies that are empowered, you know, to approach the problem and seek a solution. But at the bottom of it, Joseph, we are talking about livelihoods. You know, we're talking about the future of, you know, a good chunk of our youthful population. I was speaking to my brother here about the number of people involved. You know, it says 1.1 million youth directly involved in it. And then if you look at the ripple effect, you know, what the businesses that feed on the galamsey processes themselves. So we are looking at livelihoods, you know, and you know, I'm aware that that was what the late Amani Boama and my brother Sapon and all of them were really on their way to deal with when we had that tragic accident. We really need to get the politics out and begin to tackle really what it takes to, you know. So I think that people should back off. I think that those who are making a lot of noise, I am totally with the rightful indignation that the Democracy Hub and Fix the Country and all of them, you know, I understand. But I think we need to give a chance for cool heads to prevail to solve this problem. I was listening this morning to the levels of mercury and lead and the turbidity figures. It's frightening, and there is now evidence of just how it affects fetuses and you know the health of mothers and all that. It's the food we are eating, and you know the infiltration of all kinds of metallic substances. It is time to have cool heads prevail, and let us apply science to it, while at the same time we're dealing with empowerment and all that. But before I, you know, have my other my brothers come in, Joseph, I think for me, as someone who has spent most of his life in education, one of the problems I see here is something that is missing in our educational system. What kind of educational system, and we've had free education for a very long time, what kind of educational system ends up producing a youthful population that needs to get into this kind of activity to find fulfillment? It is a big question. Our educational system needs to be looked at. You hear some of the interviews with the youth involved in this, and the desperation. What are we doing with our basic education, the JSS? What is going on? We really need to look at the outputs, and then the outcomes. We can count how many people are enrolled, but what do they become at the end? I think for me, I'll end on that. But that is a serious indictment on our free education and all that we are trying to do in the educational sector. Just suffice it to say, I think this is an existential problem, but we need to have cool heads, and our approaches to dealing with it should be evidence-based. It should be led by science, and I believe that we should leave the president to lead us in solving this problem. I think those who are the naysayers should also understand that I think the latest polls show that all the regions, all of us believe that the president is leading us in the right direction, and that includes Galamsey. I think we should, yes, we need to keep our eyes on the ball. We have to continue to hold the foot of the government to the fire. We have to do all that. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of things. The government can choose certain areas and make them security zones. There are all kinds of things that the government can do before we get to a state of emergency. We need to have cool heads prevail on this matter.
Let me come to Honorable Lisa, and I mean, Doc makes the point about how we make the conversation political sometimes, and I mean, they will lay the blame at the doorstep of you, the politicians, because not too long ago we saw your comrades at the mining sites showing us the water. Today, the patriots on the other side are the ones at the mining sites showing us the water bodies. I mean, we cannot be having that conversation within that context. In effect, we make it an MPP NDC discussion and who has done better, and we are comparing turbidity levels when we all know that when I was growing up in the Western region, there were water bodies that you just pass in and you just jump into it. And your parents will not be upset at you. But these days, you even look at the water and you are even scared to let your leg go into it. Yeah. Why are you guys making it political?
So let me say good morning to our viewers and to yourself and my other panelists. What I will say is that issues of Galamsey, the political doctrine question will always arise vis-a-vis the fear of suffering from electoral defeat or political interference that could project a political party. So that theory can never go away from the discussion. But the circumstances and context are always different. So let's go back to the time that the NDC did the video at the Galamsey site, if you remember. In 2017, President Akufo-Addo, the former president now, declared that he was ready to put his presidency on the line. And because of that, declared almost 2 years ban on mining, illegal, small-scale mining. Now, post the elapse of the period, We now went to some of the rivers, streams, and the water bodies, and we saw that even in periods where illegal mining was banned, yet the turbidity levels of those water bodies was very high. So the question was this the ban that was announced was meant for some selected Ghanaians, while the political actors were busily mining? That was the objective. Now, coming to this, I like the fact that Doc has intimated it very well. There's a general consensus as to the impact galamsey is having on the Ghanaian economy, vis-a-vis the health of our people, degradation of our environment, even the cost of treatment of water. We have all agreed. Now, it is important for us to get useful lessons from the past. You cannot begin solving a problem when you don't learn from history. And on that score, I'm not even coming to downplay the impact of procedures that you are talking about. In fact, we need to commend them. I think that if we have one national issue that has gotten so much attention by the fourth estate of the realm, the media, is the fight against illegal mining. So I think we need to commend every actor involved in these things by making sure that they bring out the issues that government should confront. And also, it's even an educative program, because most people watch TV stations and radio stations, and for the first time know that galamsey can lead to ABC. They might not have known such information. Yeah. So we need to commend you guys. Democracy Have Fixed the Country and all those groups that are advocating for us to find a lasting solution to the illegal menace. But I was saying that let's look at the useful lessons we can draw from the past. If you are saying that we should do state of emergency, first of all, what does it entail? Deployment of security, making sure that some sectors of the country are security zones. Is that not it? Now, what was the impact when we did the Operation Vanguard? Was it not the same security that we deployed to the forest zones and mining areas? What happened to Operation Halt, Operation Galamsey, the use of drones? All these technologies and operations that we did led us to activity levels of over 14,000 in most of our water bodies. So it tells you that the military way cannot be the solution. No country has survived illegal mining through the military. Because, like Doc said, this is livelihood issues. Any effort that is not intended to create an alternative livelihood for those people will not work.
I mean, those who disagree with you will say that the previous government, they did the same thing. They came out with the community mining project. They also came out the livelihood, alternative livelihood plan as well.
So let me tell you sometimes the difference. If an illegal miner can get 2,000 Ghana cedis a day, and you come and offer that same person training for seamstress and all those things, that can affect the person maybe 100 cedis a day. Rational thinking will tell you that the person will not go in for that. So I'm saying that those calling for military interventions always should take useful lessons from our past interventions. Operation Galamsey, Operation Vanguard, Operation Halt, and the use of drones. In fact, when they were rolling out the drone issue, you heard the motivation behind the use of drones. Yes, it has given us wider coverage of this whole idea of letting citizens know what government is doing or is failing to do. But at the end of the day, has it helped? So I'm just tying it to say that, one, I don't believe that state of emergency, we are there yet. For reasons being, one, is because political and economic calculations alone will tell you not to go in for a state of emergency. Okay. One, political because it's a livelihood issues. Absolutely stopping it at a goal, I can tell you, can lead to a lot of civil unrest. We must be very careful with what we do. Economically, we all know the role of gold in emerging markets. I dare say, even a lot of the economic growth and recoveries that Ghana is seeing, gold has a land chart or a good contributor to that. Are we prepared to return back to fiscal distress? Then escalation. These are militias. Look, let nobody lie to you that these are just people with cutlasses and hoes mining. Gradually, there is a growing insurgency in the mining communities, and if care is not taken, we'll have militias in our hands. And also international perception. Once you create the environment that you are declaring a state of emergency, its impact in global context simply means the country is growing, is becoming an unstable, political instability.
I mean, but when we, like for instance, I've seen a video of the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources in opposition.
Yes.
Say clearly that they should go ahead and declare a state of emergency.
You see, I don't want to use people's individual opinions on some
No,
of
but
this.
those are the opinions that reflect in terms of key actors in the space. So, because all the factors that you just listed, they were present then.
Yes, but I never called, and I've never heard President Mahama or in an NDC manifesto, the social contract we had with the Ghanaian populace, I never saw anywhere that we will declare state of emergency. I never saw that. And I wouldn't even advise that. Also, it can trigger human rights issues because when militaries are involved in something and there is some level of resistance, you know what will happen.
Okay.
And then for me, let me applaud the current government for so far what they are doing. I believe that a phased solution is the way forward and not a one-stop solution.
All right.
The community mining, you may disagree, but it has come, especially there's some level of transparency in the licensing regime. From December 7th to January 6th, 2025, December 7th, 2024 to January 6th, 2025, over 400 mining licenses was issued. Logically, will tell you what? Okay. Why are you issuing licenses like this?
All right.
But now, for a mining license to be issued, it needs the participation of the traditional rulers, RECSEC and the DISEC. So it has gone through. So if you are a chief, you are an assemblyman or you are a GCE, and you want your community to be destroyed, the destiny is in your own hands.
All right.
And so for me, this is not like any other program that we have done in the past. The water guard and the police protections that we are doing on the water bodies, people may poo-poo such policy. But I can tell you, a lot of the surveillance and the arrests that they have been doing now is because of the useful information that we are getting. And finally, let me also say that we need to also protect the whistleblowers that we are seeing, and then the Democracy Hub and all stakeholders that are interested in the fight. Because the job that they are doing, I know a journalist with multimedia who has been constantly reporting on issues of galamsey. Such people, we need to protect them, and we need to encourage them for continuing to do the good work for Ghana.
Okay, all right. Let me welcome into the studio as well, Ketchup's Atemble. I got that right?
Yes.
He's one of the conveners for Fix the Country movements. They're joining us in the studio. Ketchup, let me come to you before I come to Doc. And earlier on, I was commending your group because of the consistency that we have seen. I mean, how do you respond to those who say to you that it's too early? And the refrain that we've heard from this government is to say that they are doing something that looks different. You have monitored the galamsey fight. You were on the streets last year. You are back again this year. What influenced the decision this time around? Is it that you are not impressed with what is being done currently?
All right. Thank you very much, and greetings to all your audience. It's very disappointing to see where we are currently. And truth be told, we can never say that the previous administration didn't do anything. They equally put in what they could do. Just as my brother, as I was listening to him, was saying, they are also putting things in place. But the key thing we're looking for here is the outcome. What is the outcome of all these things that we're doing? At what point will we pull out which instrument or which mechanism? Do we want to wait till everyone is dead before we do what we can do to save the situation? No. It is this sort of lackadaisical attitude that costed the previous administration the fortunes of the last elections. And I'm not sure if this current administration has drawn its lessons from those, because the people are talking. The people are talking. You've got to listen to them. And at the beginning of this year, yes, so many people started calling on us to act, to save our face for the sake of consistency. But we equally held a view that it was still early days. We needed to give them some time to settle, get their acts together, for which reason we were a bit relaxed with the administration. But listening to the current emerging narratives from administration, it doesn't look like they have anything, they are taking the issue as seriously as we are considering them.
What's because you talk about the benchmarks and assessing the success or otherwise, what will be the key things that you expect governments to do that will show that they are dealing with it?
When they deploy, okay, let me just go straight to this administration. Recently, when they deployed the military and the police, is it Operation Vanguard, right? We saw there were reports of positive outcomes in the field, and this is something that they could have continued, but we all didn't know what happened, and then these officers were called back.
The IGP team.
Yes, exactly. The inconsistency of such things. If you're doing something that is producing the results, why would you want to change tactics when things are not going bad? If for some reasons there are operational difficulties, it's about altering those, but not recalling the entire team back. These are some of the inconsistencies that we think that possibly the political economic dynamics of the whole situation might position them not to take it as seriously as we expect them to. For which reason we decided to take this first step of letting them know that we are still around and that we are following through. We have keen interest in the approaches that they are deploying. And a major message from us is that we anticipate the president, especially the president mentioned that we are not at the state where they will declare the state of emergency, which we consider very unfortunate because the very administration, whilst in opposition, galvanizing for power, made statements that suggested that they could do this within a week. We have given you about 8 months now. So there's not something for you to tell us that we are not at the point where, when the water bodies are being destroyed. These guys now go to the field and are streaming live. The president talks of people who insult, the administration and things. You can use their IPs to get them. These guys are streaming live from the fields. Can't you use their IPs to pick them up? What is stopping us from deploying, the go-to actions? My brother was talking, as I was listening, he was talking about the livelihood issues and all of these things. Yes. You see, when this administration created Gold Board, the rationale, the thoughts behind Gold Board, we are associated to Cocoa Board, for instance, right? To mobilize these commodities and benefit on that as a nation at the macro level, which is a good idea. But again, you can see that it creates a demand. We are looking at a demand and supply situation. So you create demand for the commodity. And so these guys go to all lengths to get the commodities for you. So you become complicit in it. Can we alter that? I am personally not against Gold Board, but can we alter that? And instead of buying these commodities from these illegally sourced places, can we seize those? So that it becomes costly for them to use these mechanisms.
The Gold Board has explained that the danger with that is you risk people dealing in an unauthorized manner. Basically.
So you get into the dark.
No,
so you get into the dark markets also with them.
Okay.
There are always ways of dealing with these. And so we expect the administration to come out with timelines. As in, since they say we are not at the point for declaring a state of emergency, they should come out with timelines. If we have X, Y, Z conditions met, we will not declare state of emergency. If otherwise, then a state of, so that we are together in this.
Okay.
And not wait for you for God knows when to decide, because we give you all the powers to decide. No.
Okay.
Let's get the outcomes that we're looking for.
Let me come to you, Doc, now. And listening to him, I mean, it's clear that there has to be some, more or less, like government would have to bring everyone on board to believe in what they are doing. What are your thoughts on what we are seeing play out?
Joseph, we can't drink gold and farm on poison lands. Galamsey is not wealth, it's poverty in disguise. Joseph, we're dealing with a threat to the life of our nation. And as we always say, water is life. Today, 60% of our water bodies are gone. The heavy metals that they use in mining, these galamsey miners, like mercury, it takes about 1,000 years for mercury to decay in our waters. So you can imagine, from now to 1,000 years, all the mercury that they've used to pollute our water bodies will still be there. And so I disagree with my brother Ataisa that there's no need for a state of emergency. Yes, there are also other repercussions to it. Everything has a downside to it. Exactly. The issue he mentioned is legitimate, that it can create an insurgency. As you know, Nigeria is facing the same thing within the Niger Delta region because of the oil that is found there. But why is that so? Because the wealth of the nation does not flow down to the people and its indigents. That is why there has been some insurgencies around the world in regards to resource-rich regions. And that's why scholars will call it the paradox of plenty, right? In our region, Africa. We believe that we should depoliticize galamsey. And that is why God, in his own infinite wisdom, made water colorless, tasteless, and odorless. And so you cannot use the MPP flag to fight galamsey. You cannot use that of the Movement for Change or the NDC. And so that is the first step we need to do in the fight. We should not politicize galamsey. Next step, let us look at what has worked in the past and what has not worked in the past. Today, we're all talking about other livelihood programs for our rural folks. It is quite clear that we have failed to tackle rural development in our country. Let us go back and study the likes of China, how they did it. I always refer to China. Some of us were privileged to be trained there. And I can tell you as a fact that the reason why I got so inspired to join Ghanaian politics was because of China. And how, especially Deng Xiaoping, was able to propound theories and create an agenda that today China has been able to alleviate over 900 million people out of poverty. Joseph, we're dealing with issues that if we do not take time, it would wipe out our massive chunk of our population. Today, a lot of hospitals within these galamsey areas are recording a lot of congenital birth defects, a lot of renal issues, liver issues, cancers are increasing. And we say we don't want to declare a state of emergency within these regions. I beg to differ. And the NDC should stand with their position when they were in opposition, when they were fighting to reach the realms of governance. They should uphold to that promise. Yeah. It is very, very important because there's a report that says that within now to 2030, if we are not able to mitigate the anthropogenic activities of illegal miners, we would have to import water into this country. Do we wait for that to happen? The answer is no. I believe that we have a lot of agencies in this country. The CSIR, the EPA. Under the CSIR, they have the Water Resource Research Institute. They have the Forestry Research Institute. What are we doing with this institution? How are we funding them to see how best they can bring up innovative solutions to enable our environment to recuperate? What are we doing? Have we really used them, these erudites and these scientists, Have we invested in any research and development in this field? And bring out Ghanaian technology to be able to mine our gold responsibly. Have we done that? So we should save ourselves this politics and let us deal with the reality. That is what we are faced with today. Today, the fufu you like, all of us here, I'm not sure there's no person who doesn't like fufu here. We all enjoy fufu very well. But I can tell you for a fact that if you now look at the eastern region, some parts of the eastern region, now the cassava that is farmed has been found to have these heavy metals, lead and mercury in them. These cassavas will find its way to Aboboloshi or Malata. And we, the ones that are in the urban space, would also be affected.
Those are all, we all agree on those points, no disagreements. But the point the president makes is, if we declare this studio right now that we've declared a state of emergency here, it basically means that we are restricting certain movements within the place, certain suspension of rights, among other things. If I decide to come in here, you still need the security to come and pick me out.
Yes.
He's saying to you that we have powers that allows us to do the same thing. You don't have to go to the river body. So why not use it for now? We don't have to.
Joseph, I always say this, that galamsey has been with us since Adam. Have we seen the degradation of our land when Ghana was not a republic? When our chiefs were ruling us? Have we, I mean, is there any history to tell us that the water bodies were, or the environment was damaged in that sense?
They enforced their laws.
There were some superstitions that there were some gods in the water. And the wisdom of our ancestors, people might take it for granted. But look at the wisdom of these people at that time. They use what? Psychology. Today, we have a contemporary form of governance, right? And we are led by a constitution. The president has all the powers. We've seen it under the MPP. They have failed abysmally. We've seen the Professor Frimpong Boateng report that indicted some elites in the MPP for indulging in galamsey. This government promised Operation Recover All Loot. We are waiting to see the proceeds of that, the outcome.
Okay.
I believe that we still need a state of emergency.
Okay.
Vis-a-vis also another policy to stimulate another empowerment, livelihood empowerment program for the youth that will be touched, because we're dealing with a whole huge economy of 5.6 million people. It's a huge chunk.
Okay.
And that is why agriculture, I always say this, that if we're able to invest in agric and support our youth in agric, look at the current interest rate on our loans today. Double-digit. No country in this world can flourish in agriculture with a double-digit interest rate. And the central bank has to come out with new financing mechanisms so that it is easy for the young people to access credit to go into agric. Malaysia today earns about $30 billion a year from oil palm. Oil palm alone. How much do we earn from gold in a year? Is that up to $30 or $20 billion? No.
Okay. All right.
And this issue about the gold board, yes, I believe that the gold board, rationally, it's a good idea. But they have to also ensure that there's some form of transparency and traceability of where the gold comes from. We know that Ghana's total gold production, 45% is dominated by the small-scale miners. Now, within that environment of the small-scale miners, we have what? About 85% to 90% of small-scale mining illegal. So in natural sense, that 45% to the national supply, majority comes from illegal source. That one is undisputed. And they have to ensure that, as my brother did intimate, that they should seize the gold. As Gold Board now has a task force to do that.
Okay.
We, members of Movement for Change, Joseph, we have solutions enshrined in our GTP. We are saying that the president should, with an immediate effect, revoke LI 2462.
And they initiated steps to do that.
And then go further to amend Act 703, the Minerals and Mining Act. Because when you revoke LI 2462, there is still a lacuna that people can operate in our forest reserves. And it's supported by the Minerals and Mining Act 703. And we believe that if there's a ban on small-scale mining for 1 year, we can be able to put in some short-term mechanisms to recuperate our water bodies. You understand? And then there should be an audit. Because a lot of people have prospecting licenses, but they are mining today in Ghana. And I believe that the EPA is not well resourced to go across the country to really enforce the law. That's why we want to see an audit for the last 15 years, right? There should be a forensic audit on all the licenses that has been granted to companies to mine, especially small-scale miners, so that then we can see those that are doing it well and those that are not doing it well. Those that are doing it well, we should punish them. Those that are not doing it well, we should punish them. Those that are doing it well, we should ensure that we introduce them to a more sustainable way of mining. And I believe that can be able to mitigate the issues of our environmental degradation. And lastly, Joseph, you know that now in our world, in line with the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, a lot of countries are now creating what we call carbon credits. I believe that we can be able to tackle and tap into this market, carbon credit market, using a new agricultural revolution as posited by the Movement for Change, right? So that we can tap into this market to also get some grants and funding to finance a greener economy in Ghana and our agricultural sector. And I believe that if we're able to do that, it will go a long way to help our people. And let me end on this note. It's not about galamsey, but the previous government introduced a law to waive import duties on electric vehicles. I am calling on this government. Honorable Nipe, please let us ensure that we enforce this law, that electric vehicles should be devoid of any import duties when coming into this country. And I'm sure that, Joseph, you would also love to drive an electric vehicle. I believe in a greener economy. So please, Honorable Nipe and the government, please.
We'll take that up and deal with it subsequently. I know, I realize you made a lot of points. I'll come to you, don't worry. I'll give you about 2 minutes to deal with
a lot of them. Is
don't worry. I know you've written a lot. I'll give you 2 minutes. Let's do some messages quickly. Mahogany Nino, he said that if you are the CEO of Gold Board, will you be prepared to disclose the source of the gold you buy? And Kendi, you said that those who are calling for the state of emergency declaration just want to trap the government and blame them later. Sumsuma Beauty, you say that I thought Gold Board was to train mining graduates from UMAT to help local registered miners do proper mining like Cocoa Board is doing. Let the local people register with Gold Board as local miners to train UMAT mining graduates to help local miners do proper training here. This one here is from Mansa Musa, voice of London Radio UK. You say that sometimes politicians create a beating for their own backs. It is disingenuous for government and its spokespersons to now say they never in opposition officially proposed a state of emergency in respect of the galamsey fight. I think their response should be that upon assuming office and relying on good advice, they have realized that extreme measures as in declaration of state of emergency may create more problems and make matters worse. They should tell us that as a government, they have not ruled out anything yet. This will be a respectful way of communicating. Thank you very much to all of you who are watching and sending your messages. So we are wrapping up on the discussion segment, but I'll just do quick reactions. Let me start with Ataisa. 2 minutes. All right. Deal with the matters directly from me. Have some reactions.
So let me say that listening to the movement for change and that of Fix the Country, I'm really not impressed about this crusaded work. And the reason is this. So much talk about complaints, lamentations without solution. So you see, that is not proper way of nation building. Before I started my submission, I said that there is a general consensus as to the effect of galamsey. Movement for Change dwell almost 15 minutes on complaining, problem.
Without solution.
No.
Really?
No.
Then we were not listening.
No. You see,
I don't think you were listening.
You see, the type of politics that we do here, sometimes the stakeholders or the independent stakeholders are rather the problem. You can't expect an 8-year or more problem to be solved in 7-8 months. you haven't given any justification as to why there is a need for a state of emergency.
But when you were in opposition, you were saying
You see,
I gave a
you see.
that's what I'm saying.
No,
He
wait.
was not listening. So,
I mean, the point, the part
you
of
cannot let him.
no, he will land. Don't worry. You will have your chance to.
So
let's let him go.
You are talking about outcome.
Yeah.
Fix the country outcome. You cannot push for outcome without interested in knowing what is being done to get the outcome. You can't expect an outcome overnight. Unless, of course, you think that there's a superior method of delivering that outcome that you are expecting that the government is not doing. Cocoa board and gold board. That lexicon comparison is superfluous. Why? Cocoa board didn't start with all its structures and programs that it is currently pursuing. Gold board is in its transition form. Number two, if you look at the Gold Board Act, there are licensed buying companies Gold Board is mandated to buy from. They don't buy from illegal miners. And let's put it on record.
Are you able to trace?
No, I'll come to you, don't worry.
If you ask for them to publish...
I have a minute for me.
Because there is a way in the Act, they talk about how they engage the public. If you want, you are a movement for change, go for it. Fix the country, go for it. But you can't just make that spurious allegation here that they buy from illegal miners. That's so bad to say. Then politicizing galamsey topic. When I sat here this morning, I didn't politicize it for a good reason. Because it's a threat to everybody.
Okay.
And every effort that must be done, and I even commended stakeholders that are involved in making sure that every Ghanaian knows the impact it is having on the Ghanaian economy. Past government intervention, it says for psychological purposes, our ancestors did something to say that you might not go near water bodies. The technologies and the concept of gold mining that is prevalent today cannot be compared with what was there 60 years ago.
Okay.
Even discoveries, the technology to discover gold depots in the past cannot be said to be the same as it is today.
All right.
So for me, it is not just about lamentations and complaints. It is about what we can do cumulatively and together so that we eradicate these menace from our lexicons.
Okay, sure.
And for me, President Mahama should be given a rope to do something more.
Okay.
And I believe that we take useful criticisms when there is a need, but suggestions that are just pure based on fabrications and lack of information, we will not take that one from anybody.
You have a minute.
Joseph,
And then finally,
sat down here.
Finally,
hold on for a minute.
Finally, he talked about audit of licenses. I think the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources have already done
so
a
you
lot
heard
of...
that?
No,
so
but
you
that
heard
is not a solution.
No, so you heard that.
That
It
is not a
part of the
solution.
solutions.
Okay.
That is why I said that. It is part of the solution.
No, it's fine.
So you heard that.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So you actually heard that.
There's an audit that is
Respectfully.
No,
so I think
that is why I'm saying that you lack the information.
No, the point of the
couldn't have
information
mentioned
was
it.
to say that, okay.
You shouldn't have mentioned it because
Doc,
if
Doc,
you
you have a
knew this
minute.
information, you don't talk about it. It's not just about sitting here and be talking more.
Doc, 1 minute.
Please. I don't want to give another information. Come on credit. Currently, EPA, Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, even the Parliamentary Select Committee on Environment and Lands, currently there's an active credit carbon market that is being pursued by the government. And in fact, even the bill, we are currently working on MP's pension fund. One of the sources of funding for those ones and other critical infrastructure is through the carbon credit market.
I think you've made a point. I think you've made a point. Atta, you've made a point.
I'm saying
no, it's okay. No, Atta, it's fine. It's fine, Doc.
Prove any act
Doc, you have a minute.
That has channel carbon into money.
You have a minute.
No, I'm saying a legal framework. You are saying a legal framework.
Doc, I need to listen to you. So you have a minute.
No, you have been ignorant this morning. No, because I said a lot of things.
You don't need an airline for a carbon credit market.
I'm saying that you need a legal framework.
Okay,
you
Doc,
need a legal framework.
you have a minute. You have a minute to make your point. Yeah.
Joseph, I sat down here and I posited on various solutions. I'm sure you all heard of the solutions that I posited this morning. But it seems my brother from the NDC was lost because he was not here with us because he knows that he is on the hot seat. And anytime, I can't say that. Abaye the botechi, and one at the boba. Abaye the botechi, and one at the boba. Today,
giving me hot seat.
Today,
really?
Today, you are in the hot seat.
How?
You have to deal with it.
Okay.
Joseph, I talked about a lot of issues as far as even the legal framework. And I mentioned the amendment of Act 703 as a solution.
You don't have to canvass your entire point or again.
No, but maybe I have to remind him because he was here. And let me also remind him that galamsey was not there for 8 years. I have always said this. No.
I said more.
Galamsey has been with us since Adam.
Okay.
He should understand that.
All right.
The rate at which our lands are being degraded is the reason why we have our water bodies like that.
Okay.
And we have posited so many solutions. For example, I talked about how we can use the CSIR, the Water Research Institute. He didn't hear that.
No problem.
He didn't hear that.
You don't have to.
He didn't hear that.
Like I said,
so if you finance, it's a solution. It's a solution. It's a solution. You are convincing. You are convincing us. What have you convinced us this morning? What have you convinced us on the fight against galamsey? We came this morning to really discuss this. But if you come with personal aside, what have you proposed? What solution have you proposed this morning?
I need you to listen to me. Hold on for me. Doc, hold on for me. Catch us. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You have a minute.
There lived a town called Esumura, had a river called Esuko, which was bedeviled with the similar issues that Ghana is faced with. They had two leaders, chiefs, right, who were transitioning. So the first chief had people bring different pieces of evidence to him to suggest action from him. But because he was transitioning to the new incoming chief, this is what he said: I hear you, but I cannot act now. Let the new chief handle it. Besides, these miners bring money into the town. If I drive them away, who will feed the youth? Then the new chief took office, and other people also brought the issues before her. It was a woman. The youth group presented satellite images of a shrinking forest. The Women's Association brought jars of polluted water from the river. Even visiting researchers offered data on the destruction that was going on. But this is what she also said: the people are tired of restrictions. If I act now, they will say I came to destroy jobs. Let me wait, and perhaps the problem will solve itself. She turned all these things away, fearing to lose popularity, right? Do you know the consequence that came in just a few years' time? The river Isuko died. The water treatment plant that was processing water for the community was shut down. The youth migrated to other towns because water is life. And if there is no water, they would leave. They migrated to other towns. Farmers abandoned their land. The town Esumura, once proud and self-sufficient, became dependent on charity from outside. This is what we want Ghana to be.
Okay.
And this will be under the watch of President Mahama if that is what he wants. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Doc, I'll give you the final word.
Just sitting here and listening to my colleagues, you know, one of the things that the president did that I admire a lot was the summit on education. I think after all the politics of free SHS, one of the first things he did was to bring together all the stakeholders, fix the country as a movement for change, everybody together to talk about this. I think it's time for a summit to talk about galamsey.
Okay.
I think that, you know, you said you were going to have a state of emergency. I didn't say so. We've tried this before as well. Not the same way. Livelihood, we've tried that. Bring us all together. Let's sit and talk about this, and then leave, whether it's Senchi or Elmina or Commander, wherever we're going. We come out together with one mind on this. I think that there is a chance now with this government for us to nip this in the bud. You know, it's not going to be easy. But and I think all of us, even though we have disagreements, want the same thing. Nobody wants to drink polluted water.
All right.
You know, so I think it's time. I think from what I see today, this is a call for us all to come together. Let's bring our ideas, fears to the table, and let's emerge out of that consultation with one mind behind our leadership to solve this this terrible problem that confronts us.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's Dr. Josiah Koba, former principal lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, also a legal practitioner. Joining me in the studio this morning as well was Ataisa. Ataisa is MP for Sanerogu and also a member of the NDC communications team, and his very good friend, Dr. Ramsey Inusa, next to him as well. Dr. Ramsey Inusa is director of research for the movement for change. Yes, we are done.
Are we done?
you used the time. You used the time to go after it, and I didn't realize you are done. No, your point has been made.
It's an appeal to them.
Yes,
they are there.
No, they will want to respond.
Ataisa doesn't want to wear white again.
Wait,
Joseph, he doesn't want to wear white again.
My appeal to them is that we, at least, like Doc said, some level of consensus should be built around it. That they must trust the process.
Okay.
You cannot eat your cake. You can't condemn the process and expect an answer. So trust the process and bring more.
They have told you what
so that together we can solve it.
Also joining
we have told you. So every process
was Dr. Ramsey Inusa, director of research movement for change, and Ketchups Atembla is one of the conveners for the Fix the Country movements, the group that are behind this protest that took place in the last 2 days. Thank you so much for joining us for this segment. We are not done. We still have a lot more to bring to you on New Day here. We'll also cross over at a point over to the venue, the Labadi Beach Hotel, where the housing thought leadership program is taking place. So don't go anywhere. Just keep your dial right here on TV3.
Okay, so you just watched the Lomo Lomo. I was trying to see whether Billy Shan will be dancing. So
Dancer.
we'll be going for sports very shortly. You're still here on Newday. Stay with us.